want to talk about this book, Women Who Run with the Wolves. When I tell you this book activated me, it activated me. So I clearly highly suggest every woman read this book, maybe even men who are fathers to daughters. I think that's really important as well. But high level, it's about different myths and stories of the wild woman. And one of my other favorite books, The Ancient Healing Wisdom of Africa by Malidoma Sume. That book's super potent. It talks about so many different things, as does this book. But that book talks about the importance of stories that are passed down to generations and how these stories activate different parts of you. And it's like you almost need to hear these stories to really step into your womanhood or your manhood. Sometimes the story can activate the initiation. So this book is filled with different stories, and then the author does a really great breakdown. Her name is, apologies if I mispronounce her name, but Clarissa Pinkola Estes. So she's a doctor. So Dr. Clarissa Pinkola Estes, and she does a phenomenal job at breaking down these stories to the point where, you know, some of the stories, I was like, huh? Like that's how that one's going to end, and like some of them went over my head. I was like, what? But then no, she does a really beautiful job at breaking it down into so many different layers. So it's a super potent book. It activates you. But really what I want to talk about today is one of the stories that really showcases how good girls are predators. How good girls are prey for the predator. And I think this is really important, especially in Western society, because we're teaching girls to be good. You got a 3-year-old girl, and you know, she walks into the house and she don't really want to speak to everyone. She doesn't want to hug everyone, and she doesn't want everyone to kiss her on the cheek. But a lot of adults are saying like, no, you have to be a good girl. You have to be the nice girl. Let them hug them, even though your intuition is telling you not to. You let them all up in your field, even though you don't want to be there. And then it's like we receive these conditionings, and then boom, you're 18, boom, you're 45, and you still have this good girl syndrome in you where you're not listening to your intuition, and you're almost like causing yourself to be prey a little bit. And that's not to say that there's like boogeyman out in every corner. Of course there are some in this world for sure, but that doesn't mean that everyone's a boogeyman that's out to get you. Like some people are good people, but you're activating this other side of them because you have no boundaries and because you don't listen to your intuition. So I have this like example. Let's say it's your brother, and your brother is just like, oh, like I need money, and your intuition is like, absolutely not. You know, your brother needs the opportunity to actually learn how to make money himself and learn how to really step into his manhood and etc. And your intuition is so strong, and your stomach churns every time you like provide money, and you're just like not listening to your intuition. Your brother is like your family. You might love your brother, but you're also activating that predator side of him, where now he might want to take advantage of you because you are not listening to your intuition. So hopefully that lands. But I'm going to read a little bit from the book, I think. Let's see. So I think I'm going to tell the story from chapter 2, which is the story that like just like activated me fully. But I'm gonna say it within my own like words because I think it will translate a little bit better. So basically, there was this man, and he had a blue beard. So his actual beard was blue, and he was interested in these three sisters. And he took the three sisters out, like they were just like the most beautiful poppin' three sisters. He was like, one of them needs to be my wife. I need to lock one of them down. He took them all out. This man has the coin. He's rich. He showed them a good time. They're balling. They have a really, really great time when they're out. But the older two sisters, they're a little bit wiser. They listen to their intuition, and they're kind of like, something about this man. He has a blue beard. Like, even though we had a great time, even though he showed us around, we had a ball, something's a little off. Like, we're good. So that only leaves one sister left, the youngest sister. The interesting part about this story is that we don't really hear about their parents. So like, were their parents around? Was their mother around? Maybe their mother was not around and didn't really pass down that knowing of like, hey daughter, like listen to your intuition. So she was naive basically. So the daughter is like, he's not so bad. Magically, she doesn't notice that his beard is blue anymore. Girls, how many times have we not listened to our intuition? Like, we clearly see something, and then magically a week later, it's just not there. Like, it never existed. Like, what? But I've been there too. So this is no judgment space. We're figuring it out together. So then fast forward, they marry. She's living in this beautiful castle, and then he's like, hey, I'm going away for a little bit. You have the whole castle to yourself. You can do whatever you want, like go in every room, have a feast, have fun. But there is this one key that I'm gonna give you. Don't open the door with that key. So she invites the sisters over. They were super excited. They were like, this big castle, big home, mansion. Like, we wanted to run around and stuff anyway. We're so glad he's not here. We have the opportunity to do it. And then the younger sister told them but hey, there is this one key that he doesn't want me to open. And of course, she probably was going to obey it. She was a little naive, but the older sisters are the wise ones. They're tapped into their intuition. So they said, oh, of course. Well, our goal today is to find what door that key goes to. So they're going along the place. They're opening every door. They're like, oh, this door is where, all the wine is held. This door is where all the food and the bread and the grains. This door is where all the clothes are, the jewels. And they're like, oh my gosh, we cannot find this mystery door. Like, where is it? What's up? And then out of nowhere, they heard a noise, and it was the door going like, it's literally written like that in the book. My sound probably did not do that part justice. But the door was like, and it opened a little bit, and they heard the noise, and they said, oh, that's one of the doors we didn't check. And it was this door that looked a little bit different, and they all looked at each other like, oh, this is probably the mystery door. So wait, I actually want to find this part a little bit. I want to read it more because I said I was going to read it, and then I just went off of memory. But this part is, this is the twist. So then, all right, so it says, without a thought, one of the sisters put the key in the door and turned it. The door swung open, but it was so dark inside, no one could see. So, you know, the younger sisters, like, older sisters, like, bring me a candle. Like, we got to see what's in here. So then the younger sister goes in. The older sisters are kind of like, I feel like they're on the outside of it looking in. And she has this candle, and when the candle, like, is bright enough to see what's in the room, they all scream. Because in it were blackened bones of corpses and skulls all stacked in corners like pyramids of apples. Let me repeat that. So within this, YouTube ain't going like that. So when they opened the door, what they basically saw were corpses of, you know, what they saw were his previous wives, the bones. So then they all freaked out. They were like, my God, my God. And the wife looked down at the key and she saw that it was stained with blood, which freaked her out, because if it was stained with blood, he would have known that she opened the secret door and she disobeyed him. So she used her skirt to try to wipe it off, but the blood was still there. And the blood kind of, like, you know, is getting on her skirt a little bit. She goes to the kitchen. She's trying to wash it off with horsehair. But then not only did it have blood on it, but the key was actually bleeding. So the key was making a mess. It was like dripping blood from everywhere she was going, which is really to say, like, once you wake up to the truth of, you know, a situation and what it is, you can't ignore it, because that stain drips everywhere. So then she took the key outdoors. She pressed ashes on it. She's like, what do I do? And then she's like, you know what? I'll hide it. I'll put it in my wardrobe. And then even when she put it in her wardrobe, what do you think it did to her wardrobe when she tried to hide it in her closet? It dripped all over her beautiful white clothes, because you can't hide the truth. It is what it is. So then the man comes back. He's like, you know, this man was really sweet before. And he was like, even though she ignored his blue beard and that he was a little, you know, the sisters were like, But he's like, oh, how's everything, sweetie? Like, you know, can I get my key back? And she's like, okay, here it is. But then, of course, the one is missing because she hid it in her wardrobe. And he's like, oh, where's the one that's missing? And she's like, oh, what? I don't remember. And then that's when he goes full on, like, blue beard, like, predator. I don't think I can do it justice, because I don't have it in me to, like, buck up like he is, but he goes full on, like, vicious, like, attack mode. He's like, you've been in my room, haven't you? He started, like, abusing her. He's like, well, guess what? Now it's your turn. Basically, like, with the bones you saw in there were my previous wives, and now is your turn. So he dragged her down the hall, and then he basically was like, is your turn. Like, he's about to, you know, do what he did to her. And she's like, please, 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 like, allow me to compose myself. Allow me to just have a few moments before, you know, you do what you do with the higher powers. Like, just give me a few moments. Which was, like, this was the wisest thing she's done throughout the whole thing. And she, you know, she walks away, she goes up the stairs or wherever, and she's calling out to her sisters, like, sisters, like, I need y'all help. Where are my brothers? Where are their brothers? Do you see them? The sisters are like, we don't see the brothers. She's like, I don't got that much time. Like, I'm trying to stall. And then they're like, oh, wait, we see a little thing of dust. Like, that might be the brothers. And then she's like, sister. And then the abusive psycho man the predator starts getting buck again. Like, where are you? Like, it's time. Like, I'm done waiting. And it's like, it's cutting very close. The timing is, it only takes a few more seconds before, it's there. And then the brothers come in their horses and their protective gear. And then, they come in, and I'm going to be mindful on YouTube. They had swords, so they did what they needed to do. A lot of that. Chop, 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 chop. Multiple pieces. And then Bluebeard goes away. And then the birds and the other things, they kind of pick at it and get rid of all of that completely. So, first of all, read this story for yourself, because that was my, very quick, high level breakdown of it. But I can't even say what it's about, because once the author breaks it down, it's so many potent gems in it that when you read it for yourself, you're going to pull out what you need from it. So I can just talk about how it activated me and some of the things I pulled out. But just know that there's probably 95 other potent lessons within the story as well. So, I think the first one that's sticking out for me is the naive woman as prey, for sure. I mean, she didn't listen to her intuition. Think about all the times you didn't listen to your intuition and the trouble it got you in. There's been times where I didn't listen to my intuition, and it was sometimes it was more bigger things, and sometimes it was just as simple as walk this way, not that way. And when I didn't listen, because I was like, it's just a street, it's just a few blocks, best believe that something dumb, annoying, or just believe something happened that I was like, okay. Intuition, whenever I don't listen to it, it plays in my face. Whenever you don't listen to it, you can potentially become the naive woman, which you can become prey for a predator, or you can even activate someone else's predator. So also, I want to note that this story takes place in how do I describe it? In the between worlds. So this can feel like an external story for you, where, outwardly you've been dealing with someone, or you've been prey in the past, or you've been naive. Or this can also be your internal landscape as well. This can be your psyche. This could be the natural predator in your psyche that, pops up and is trying to boss you around and tell you what to do, and you're not listening to your intuition, and you're still playing small. So then another takeaway, let's see where else I took notes, is so another place I took notes at that stood out for me was, I underlined this. The problem is that ego desires to feel wonderful, but a yin for the paradisical, when combined with naive, makes us not fulfilled, but food for the predator. So basically, when you have the desire to feel great and, create heaven on earth, but you're also naive, it makes you not fulfill, but food for the predator. So this awakening of getting rid of the good girl and listening to your intuition is just such a pivotal part of stepping into your power and creating your heaven on earth. Because if you don't do it, it could be very difficult with internal or external predators. So another thing I highlighted was the naiveness is why the youngest daughter can say, his beard really isn't that blue. He's not really X, Y, and Z. Even when she saw the blood, she was willing to put it in the closet and act like it never happened. He's not really that evil. no, sis, you have to just take it for what it is and listen to your intuition. So it also talks about how the early training of to be nice, the good girl syndrome, cause women to override this intuition. So it can happen in your daily life, you know, when you're applying for a job and your intuition just says not this one, the other one. Even though this one might be 5K higher, just your intuition is like, please not this one, the other one. But you don't listen to it because you want the extra few thousand, and then the place drains the soul out of you. So it's still happening to so many people. And she says, imagine a mother wolf teaching her young daughter wolf to be nice in the face of another angry animal, basically, or another angry snake. It just wouldn't work in a while. So this is why naive women keep making poor choices in a mate, in life, and jobs, and money, and health, because the woman wants something differently, but we're just not, that intuitive part of us, it's been so suppressed, and we're not giving it permission to show up again, thus making us pray. So let me see, I don't want to make this too long. Another part that stood out to me is the predator, you know, what happened to him at the end. This can also be like a metaphor for the internal, like what needs to go within us? What is the predator within us that's getting in the way so that we can fully, more robustly live our lives? So is this like perfectionism? Is the predator perfectionism? Perfectionism is like, you better not do this, you better not do that. Is it controlling you? Is it fear? Is it anxiety? Like, what is happening within your inner world, within your psyche, that's keeping you from playing small? This kind of just hit me. Another thing that's very interesting about this story is that even though she had the big house, the castle, the mansion, the money, that lifestyle wasn't making her bigger, it was making her smaller. The moment he said, you cannot go in this one place, that shrunk her, that restricted her. A healthy mate does not restrict you. That could have been the moment she said, I'm good. You giving me everything I want in the world, but you want to restrict me? I'm good. All right, what else? I took, like, if y'all see my notes, it's just like mark up. But we're going to be here for 2 hours if I do everything. So one thing I highlighted, I'll read this word for word. There is one other specific instance in which women are highly likely to experience Darkman dreams. So now she's talking about the inner psyche. And that is when one's internal fire is smoking and banking all by itself, when there is little fuel left in a corner, and when white ashes grow deeper every day, yet the cook pot remains empty. Basically, when your fire is almost not there. These syndromes can occur when we are veterans at our own arc, as well as when we first seriously begin to apply our gifts outwardly. They can occur when there's a predatory intrusion in the psyche, and as a result, we'll find every reason to do anything and everything except for sit there or stand there or travel there in order to execute whatever it is that we hold there. I think one of the more, I guess, like, I wouldn't say positive, that's not the right word, but another angle for this story is that this dark man dream, or like Bluebeard, whatever you want to call it, this is often enough to scare a woman back to being on track. So whether that's creating again, whether that's like, oh, I gotta drop this naive good girl stuff, tap back into my intuition, whatever it is, she can kind of like, it's like a jump back to alignment. So the author wrote, in this manner, when a woman has, a series of these dreams, is really a huge gate that's opening up for initiatory grounds where the reevaluating of her gifts can occur. So there's so many takeaways that you can really grasp from this section. And I think the main ones for me were, of course, just listening to your intuition the first time. The moment she saw that he was different, and like not in a good way, and his beard was blue, saying, I'm good. The intuition was there. The sisters had it. She had it a little bit, but she ignored it. Listen to your intuition. It will never lead you into the wrong path. And another takeaway is the moment where she asked for like 10 minutes to go like get herself together and pray for the higher whoever she prays to. I think that was a great moment of when you are in this situation, whether that is internal or external, it's about being wise in a moment where the predator like does come out, and being wise to create an escape plan. Because she created an escape plan. She said, I'm telling my sister, the sister's gonna tell the brother's gonna come and protect me. So being wise, whether that's your inner world and the predator is coming out. So it's like, okay, well, I know I have all of these tools that I can really tap into to really stay within my power, my creative fire, my flame, where I can, get rid of the Bluebeard within myself that's getting in my way. And these are what I can tap into. So that's something that really stood out for me. Also, the protection of her brothers. I don't even know if the author broke it down the way I interpreted it, but it was just like having this protective layer that will always look out for you. So super tapping into your protective bag, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically, in every way. Just having protection is key to this life, whether that looks like a simple prayer of protection, whatever it is, whatever works for you. And I think I'll finish with this line. Wild woman teaches woman not to act nice about protecting their soulful lives. The wildest nature knows that being sweet in these instances only makes the predator smile. When the soulful life is being threatened, it is not only acceptable to draw the line and mean it, it is required. When a woman does this, her life cannot be interfered with for long, for she knows immediately what is wrong and can push the predator back where it belongs. She is no longer naive. She is no longer a mark or a target. And this is the medicine that causes the key, the little one with the scroll work on top, to finally cease its bleeding. So I love this story. It activated me. There's definitely been times in my life where I was probably the older sister or the younger sister. So just read the book, y'all. Read the book. So I forgot to put this in a video because I was excited, but make sure you tap into the bio and sign up for my women's empowerment community. I'm also going to be releasing courses that really help you dive into your intuition on an even deeper level, and also talk about my personal experience and things that I've overcome. So make sure you sign up for that email list to stay updated.